Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, what a difference a week makes in terms of weather. Last week I was in here huddling with a scarf on, a big fleece, trying to get the fire started. And today I'm in a t-shirt. It's warm, uh, blue skies, sunny, and it's still quite early, but it is already warm. Um, and it seems like we're going to get at least a week of warm weather, which is really lovely. Like it's nice to feel the warm and to not have really cold evenings even. But if this continues between now and when we get into summer, we're going to have a really dry, hot, and potentially bad bushfire season. So kind of want to dampen it down a little bit and have a bit more rain. I do enjoy that sort of springtime rain where it's a little bit warmer, but you're getting the rain coming through as well. It just got to find that balance, right? And don't know that we're ever entirely happy with the weather. Having said that, though, it has been dry for a couple of days, so I have done some spraying of the weeds on my path that I started to do last week. I did the pulling out last week and did some spray already this week. I'm thinking this afternoon, once the dew comes off, I will get my larger spray bottle that's like a pump pressure system, and I will do a bit more spraying close to the front of the shed garden area. There's sort of rocks and bricks and everything, so I'm going to spray all that area with the bigger spray unit just to try and get rid of it. It's a lot of grass there, so it's actually really hard to pull out. I think it's partly because that's where I sort of drop the hay seeds as I'm throwing it into the sheep, and it started to sort of creep out onto the garden and the path. So when I'm doing spot spraying, I just use a hand pump bottle that I just refill and use. And over summer, I just sort of keep it close by. And as I'm coming in and out of the shed and I see something growing, I can just give it a little spray. But this other bottle is much bigger for doing larger areas and easier to use because you can just flick it down. And once you've got the pressure built up in it, it gives out a nice wide burst of the poison. I opened up the shed grass area for the sheep this week. It had gotten to a good length, and their paddock is really struggling. They're in there all the time, and it is green, but it's very little, and they sort of pick around, and little bits start to grow, and then they're right on it straight away. So it's good to give them a little opportunity to have some fresher, longer grass. So they'll probably be in there for a week and a half, see how we go. It means I don't have to feed them hay this week. You can tell that they're not hungry and that they don't feel that they need me right now, because this morning when I walked over here, they were just happily grazing on that grass. They didn't run up and say hello. There was no barring. They just kept doing their own thing. Whereas when they're feeling a little bit hungry and there's not enough grass in the paddock, they literally run to the gate to see me as soon as I come across to the shed. We are looking at a potential another option for a paddock that the sheep can use sometimes, just to give that main paddock of theirs a break, because over the time since I've had them, that paddock has not had a break from them at all. But it means some measuring and buying a lot of the livestock mesh to go around an existing paddock area. So we need to figure out how much we're going to need, as well as the clips and how we're going to attach the mesh to it. So there could be a new big fencing project coming up. We just have to work through the logistics of how we're going to do it. So I think I'm pretty much packed for the weekend. It's not in the car yet. I will do that on Saturday just before I leave, so that the yarn is not sitting in the sun and getting hot in the car. As this video goes live, I will be setting up my stall at the Romsey All Fibre and Yarn Market. So if you're watching this on the day that it goes live and you would like a drive out to Romsey, please come along and say hi. I'd love to see you. And I think it's going to be a great day. This time with my planning for my stall setup, I haven't so much done a full mock-up. What I have done is sort of worked on how I'm going to display each of my yarn bases, and I know roughly what my table situation will be, but I haven't decided where the different elements will be until I get there on the day, because I'm not sure where within the hall my store will be. So I'm going to try and figure that out on the day to sort of optimize my orientation to the door and to other stalls and all that kind of thing. So I know how each of my yarn bases will look, and I have played around with a few different overall stall setups, and then I will be able to just adapt and change as I go. I think I've done enough now that I kind of have an overall idea of how everything can be set up, and I'm just going to try and be a bit flexible in terms of how I arrange the space once I'm there. Today at Romsey, I will be launching my Christmas colorway. So if you come, you will see that. But I do have a little sneak peek here. So I've called this Dancing Sugar Plums. And it is on a sparkle base. Look at all of that sparkle. And it is similar to a previous color that I did called Sugar Plums. But I have made some adjustments to the recipe, and also I'm only going to be doing it on the sparkle base, because I think that that just brings something extra to the yarn, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. So it's sort of a vintage green and a purpley blue or bluey purple, a really light sort of frosty light blue, and a red through to pink. And I've also at the market have some Christmas scrap packs as well. And these look like that. So any that I have left will end up going up into my shop, but maybe not straight away, because I haven't taken any photos or anything of all of this. So I will see how I go at the market, and then I will let everyone know when it's available online. I've also had a really good look at my calendar for the rest of the year, and I have worked out my die schedules for restocking the website and for markets for the rest of the year, based on everything else that's going on. So I feel quite organized looking forward now, knowing what's going to be happening for the rest of the year. This past week, creative-wise, I finished that single sock that I was working on in the Not Sure of the Colorway opal sock yarn that I had from a really long time ago. That was to match my sister's single sock that she had lost the other one in the wash. So that was done. It didn't take much longer. I didn't realize that the cuff wasn't going to be very long. So that was done really quickly. So of course I cast on more socks. I grabbed a couple of balls of yarn that were already wound up, leftovers from another sock project, and I've cast on 2 at a time. I'm doing these for a friend, so they're slightly bigger than what I would normally do for myself, and they will be a little bit longer as well. If I was looking at it in terms of a full sock, I'm probably almost done a full sock already, but doing them 2 at a time, it feels like you don't make quite as much progress, but they are coming up really quick. That was all done just this week. This week I picked back up my, I think it's called the Ophelia hat. So my colorwork hat that I'm doing as my continental project. So I've done quite a bit in this last week. I think I was only down here somewhere last time I showed you. I just started the colorwork. So I've done about halfway up the head now, I think. You sort of put it, yeah. And I'm going to show you my floats too, because I'm really happy with them. So that's the inside, looking nice and stretchy. And I'm doing this with, I don't remember what the wool is. I'll put links below so you can check out what the wool is. I know that the light blue is an 8-ply that I got from Bendigo a really long time ago. And this is Mill Post yarn. And I've made a full jumper out of these colors, and I just knew that they looked really great together. So I have paired them together again, because I just had some extras left over. The other thing I've been working on is my comfy jumper from the 52 Weeks of Easy Knits book that I'm doing out of my DK yarn in the teal not green colorway and the wispy yarn in Wildflowers. So I stopped working on the body and I've started working on the first sleeve, and I did try it on, and in terms of body length it's actually pretty good. I might go a little bit longer, but if I need to just do this edging, I might go another 5-10 centimeters, maybe not even that much, and then finish. So I'm just going to see how much wool I have left of this ball that I'm working on now once the sleeves are done, and that might be what decides what length I end up going to, because I really don't want to break into another ball of the DK yarn. So I was talking about the sleeve last week. I tried on the sleeve and I was right. It is quite narrow for my arm, so I'm not doing all of the decreases as it says in the pattern. I'm just knitting straight at the moment, and I'm going to wait until I get down past my elbow, and then I'm going to start doing some decreases, because my arm sort of from here to just past my elbow is about the same width the whole way, and then it starts to get really narrow down to my little scrawny wrists. So rather than do a whole lot of decreases through here and make it tight, so like for bending and everything, I'm just going to let it be a simple tube and then do some decreases once I get down a bit further. So it feels like it's taking a really long time, and I figured out why. It's because I feel like I've got to keep trying it on over and over again to get the length. So I do a little bit, then I try it on, see how it feels. I have to take off the short needles, put on the, like, add an extra length of cable so that I can actually try it on, then take that off and go back to knitting and then try. So the second sleeve, once I've figured out what I want to do with this first sleeve, the second sleeve should actually be really quick, hopefully. So I'm making sure that I'm taking notes about when I'm doing my decreases and how many stitches I picked up under the arms, and how many rows I'm doing. I mean, obviously I can count that, but just to make sure that I've got a proper record of everything. So I am currently at about probably just below my t-shirt line, somewhere about there, I think. So I still have quite a bit to go. But yeah, that I just finished trying it on another time, and I've just put it back onto the needles. So I need to get going again. I'm going to have a fair bit of still knitting straight, I think, before I'm doing any decreasing. And even then, I'm not sure that I'm going to have to decrease all that much to get a good cuff width. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.